Mr. Stone.
Wants me to agree to it.
Free.
Can you see me?
Can you hear you? That's the most important thing.
Oh, start video. There we go.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Check.
Yes, sir. Check. Hold on.
How's the reporting from the side at Jacob's location. Is it Midland?
Midland, Washington.
Midland, Washington, USA.
The famous location across the nation. that was Wixie 1260 in Cleveland.
I didn't see if Ann replied. Are we going to have an Ann or no?
Annie, is she okay?
Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Check.
Okay, cool.
I think is Annie okay? Do we get Annie tonight?
No. Her brother, serious business there, man. Nothing but prayers going out right now on that.
Yeah, so I thought we were both thinking the same way. That would probably just be me, you, and Jacob.
Yep.
So I thought this was probably going to happen. So how's it been?
It's been a lot, just not just my own personal work and life stuff, but this bit with the LCB, government in general, but the LCB in particular that I'm seeing is so astoundingly bad that it defies description. And like I told him in the meeting last week, I've never seen an agency this corrupt in my life. And,
the question is,
go ahead.
The question is there even case law on this level of corruption? And I don't think there is. I think this is a whole new level case law that has to be created.
Well, it's not the level, it's the manner in which it's done. And trust me, I've seen worse. I watch crime shows all the time. And I've seen it.
By manner, Christopher, manner. Let's start with the manner aspect. What manner or conduct have you seen that recently, I guess, alarms you?
Okay, recently, a current recent one doesn't come to mind, but I know I've been seeing them, where there have been cops that have, I've worked on documentaries where, cops have been dirty, and one cop I know had just basically scared the hell out of the entire town of Franconia. And that's, the Bodie Miller's cousin, the Liko Kenny story there in New Hampshire. But that was a while back. But, I've heard of, cases where cops are, clearly on the take and arresting people, harassing people, shaking people down, murdering people, stuff like that. And this is a different type of thing. I'm not saying that they haven't threatened some of you.
Corruption. Can we prove corruption right now?
Oh, I proved it a million times.
Oh,
with
right.
LCB.
But what to do about the question I keep asking?
Yeah.
What direction to
what's the outcome we want to achieve? What's the agenda?
Well, let's first talk about a couple, just two of the most current examples of the three. I'll give three examples of the current corruption. Peter Manning and I have been discussing at the meetings, and you discussed it the other day, that the 2870 money, the grant money that's supposed to be there for the development, once you get your approval, that never showed up. They're tardy to that. And Peter Manning has pointed out the fact that the person in charge of that now is some white woman who is another one that's just kind of like, kind of like I would say a Trojan horse, but it's not even that attractive. It's more like what's her name? Vicky Christopherson type of person, sliding in there. You got to manage this thing, I forget the name of it, but a START or something like that. START program, I don't know. So that's one of them. And then the thing with Dennis Turner on Cloud 9 over there in Arlington, where I used to live, the whole fake false narrative that was projected by LCB and King 5.
What about Cloud 9, sir? What about Cloud 9?
Again, the Dennis Turner had been, they projected him as being some a new recipient worthy of the first cannabis equity candidate to open a store. Nonsense. The guy had been with Lucid and all these other companies for years.
Right.
And he was in that lawsuit with Greider, forget her first name, Greider versus Quinn. He and his buddies had that store and that license where they ran it into the ground. They were taking store money and investing it in an ATM repair company or elevator repair company, one of those two, and didn't even tell her. I mean,
going down then, Christopher. You saw some shrammy operations. You saw some scammy operations. Scammers.
very scammy. Oh yes, I mean she was awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, she bought that. She had the money for the property. She found the property. She took out money to fix the property to get ready to make it a retail point of focus, right?
Supposed to be for the industry, right? They're supposed to be leaders to stretch the issue in a positive direction. Instead, they're taking the money in illegal fashions or doing techniques of almost like a mobster concept. They're basically
they're rewarding corruption. These people that I'm telling you about, they're rewarding those people with multiple licenses and stores, while hardworking, honest medical people like the original co-ops, the original medicals, the original Black pioneers who stuck their necks out, you know, because they were definitely afraid of cops, you know, selling weed during the pre-502 era, you know?
Right.
All those people are just getting run under the bus unless they're tight with Ollie Garrett or those people at the board. You know, they pick their select Negroes to put them in a couple of raisins in the porridge, right? Amongst all of their elite white friends, mostly.
the board. Everything we're talking about, the origin, the genesis of the root of the problem is the board.
And it always has been, and it still is. They haven't really changed anything. And some people may not know that the only reason that board exists was to make money. That board has been a mule forever. It was, I had sold, listen, I was a residential closing attorney. And I was writing for WAMU, right? Even though I was in New Hampshire, I'm writing for WAMU out here at Chicago Title. I made them millions of dollars, right? I made them fucking $1 million every fucking house, right? That's all right. So anyway, you know, we were working jumbos and all that shit. So, I know that when that whole thing imploded, which they knew it would happen, okay, and this is what we're going to talk about on 420. I'm going to draw the parallel between mortgages and the cannabis industry. So they knew that this whole thing would collapse because they had actuaries who knew X number of mortgages. Doesn't matter how principled you are as a consumer, accidents happen. Some people go crazy. Some people get into drugs. Some people get sick. They'll know a certain number of them aren't going to pay their mortgage. And so they knew that the whole thing would implode. And they did that to make it a land grab. So the funny thing is, of course, since I wrote for WAMU, was a funder, table funding and all that, when that went down, Washington got hit twice. They got hit by the so-called mortgage crisis, period, you know, but then they also got hit double hard because WAMU was headquartered here, and all of that residual income, that radiating and residual income that they have got taken out. So now we need money. Oh, let's legalize the weed.
Land grab. This is a land grab, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened in the Great Depression and how we ended up.
Is that land grab coming from a source that can be proven corrupt?
The LCB has been proven corrupt a number of times. They even had, listen, there was a study by this white law firm. There were two studies. There was the GAI, Government Accountability Institute, and then a few years ago in like 18, and there was another law firm, I forget their name, but they ran a study also where they went through and talked about all the corruption, all the cronyism. The GAI report, the headline was cronyism in cannabis, right? So then this other firm comes up, and I'll forget their name, but we'll put it in I'll make sure you have it tonight whenever you air this, and you can put it in the, you know, typeface, a link, because I linked it, the report. But it talks about all the cronyism, all the negative shit, except they don't touch on the racism, fancy that, and they don't talk about that. But in any event, that went nowhere. They pointed it out like 3 years ago. To tell you the truth, Agent John Jung had fucking gave it to me, you know, because he's a cool guy. And so, you know, that's why he no longer works there. Agent John Jung, great man. He testified, and I took his deposition live on Facebook, and he admitted that the LCB was arbitrary, capricious. Next.
And my question is, and it is from a level of ignorance in some aspects, but why, if it's so clear, is there no path to damages and a return? I mean, what's the and timeline?
Listen,
It's going
Listen,
to
I'm gonna need to go get some jailhouse wine, some champipple. I'm gonna talk to Fred G. Sanford and give me some champipple, and I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll try to answer that question.
Yep. Because to me, it's like, and I know you're asking him over and over, you know, like, because
No, I'm actually.
how do you prove the corruption, right?
I'm actually going to do it.
It's been so proven.
No,
Why
but,
isn't there
This
action
is-
towards
this
correcting
is a
it?
journalist aspect I want to give him as a tool that we can use. And so that actually created in my head just as I'm talking to him, but I've actually thought about this for a while.
Smoke, yeah, smoke.
This is basically a 3-tur circle, which is like a pyramid in a way. But front, back door, and then the middleman concept. And I'm giving headers on this. So I want to just do a circle around with him about this. So when he's ready, we'll do a circle around once he's ready. It's going to just be the 3 topics we basically covered.
Hey guys, I'm Black.
Okay, Christopher, I have a really good idea. Once you're ready,
Hold on. It changed my audio. Hold on. Why would I do that?
Okay. I already wrote
Microphone.
this. I've been thinking this for a while, how I'm going to journalize this. And if you could help me, it's going to make it a lot easier.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh wow. Hold on. There.
And
Hold on.
you'll understand it pretty quickly once I give you the 3 header. It's a
Yeah,
really
yeah. Oh no, I'm just trying to. I unplugged my mic.
all right, cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm back.
Are you ready?
Okay. 1 second. Come on, man. What's going on?
Okay. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah. My mic is going crazy. I don't know what happened to it. It just wow.
Ready, then I'll tell you.
It just went crazy. I don't know. I'll just run off the system mic. Can you hear me?
So basically, what I've come up with the story here,
Yeah.
and get the names in the boxes. I got 3 boxes for you.
Okay.
This, in my opinion, is a story of 3 major factors.
Mm-hmm.
You have a board of some kind of directors that are basically corrupt. That's number 1.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure.
Okay? Their action was to make puppet organized owners to do their bidding. Okay?
Organized owners to do what now?
To do their bidding, to get their
Oh yeah, sure.
skills
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah, they're cronies. Cronies,
Number
yeah.
Here's the big one. The land, the graph. Their intention was, in my opinion as a journalist, is we have the source, which is the board.
Mm-hmm.
Their way of tooling their operation is not just the law, but these players, these puppets, these hemp puppets, I want to call them. And then the game is to get the land and the resources and everything under their belts.
Yeah, and then of course, and listen, and they the 10-year plan that John Novak talked about too. That 10-year plan, get it ready to turn it over to Big Pharma and the top tier of their cronies, right? Who will have all the resources, and you've brought everybody out in the open, right? So they've got all their tentacles in you. They know where you live. They know when you shit. They know where you eat. All right, they're ready.
Sure.
They're ready for you, Charlie's got something for you.
Yeah,
you know.
And what reason could be either with the land or the puppet strategy?
No, IP. No, I'm correcting you. That's
I always
IP.
want to know what their intentions are, right?
It's obvious. It's obvious. They're just they're gonna take it over and give it to the federals are figuring out how to get the right people in line to make all the money. Which corporations are gonna get the patents? The Pfizer and Eli Lilly and all those guys, they have patents and shit. And it was an Eli Lilly guy that tried to rip off my friend Kevin Shelton. They tried to take 49% of his company and promised him a license. It was going to go through the LCB under the table, right? But then his uncle got too greedy, his ex-stepfather got too greedy. and the deal fell through. So I have proof that there was cronyism. That's when I go to the board meeting the other day. Remember, I held up that certified mail receipt, and I was like, "Why don't we have an answer to what happened to this document?" It's because they don't want it. They can never answer that question, or they just have to be wearing handcuffs. You know, it's a seamless operation. And the media is caught up in it. So you asked earlier about the solution. I don't have a solution. We've identified most of the problem, but you had more to go. I'm sorry, I interrupted your line of questioning. You had at least one more question for me. We'll come back to my point.
It's not the title of the show for me on this. What I got here is a corrupt board, correct?
Oh yeah, and more.
I'm going to header this. This is what I'm going to headline this story. It's going to be a corrupt board with their cronies, which are the puppet growers that they control. Okay. Or the people growers, which they also control.
That's right.
And here's the last ticker. The money board is what is the story. And the reason is for money and many different things, including land grabs. But at the end of the day, it's about the money board and what they're doing to control the hemp industry. This is what we are looking at as a journalist. This is what the story is about.
Is the monopoly board public domain? Like, are we allowed as journalists? Are we allowed to use the monopoly board or a spoof of it for public domain and get away with it?
You can get away with this. This is how
What's even better is that they have what's called Growopoly, and that's a non-licensed game. I actually own it.
Okay.
And they never for licensing, but they would sell that at HempFest every year. Weedopoly had a booth at HempFest.
There you are.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's bring them in on it.
Get on it.
Let's bring them in on it.
Points here, right, Christopher?
Yeah. Yes.
Long as you understand where I'm as a journalist and what I'm doing this before, I am not looking for action. I'm looking to make a story of what we are doing.
Right.
Can't make a solution because there is no solution until we examine the problem thoroughly.
Well, right. However, but that's a given. But it's one of those symbiotic things, though, because part of the solution is expansive projection of the dirt. Okay, because there are people around like us who want to help, but they don't even know that the problem exists as it does. So I think that the one thing I want to do, and I'm not going to call it a solution, I'm going to call it a factor, something that needs to be done. I'm going to call it a force vector. And I'm going to say the next force vector from KingCast is going to be directly on King 5 and Eric Wilkinson, because they're the most current flagrant media lie that I've seen. And I've given him a month and a half to retract. He has not done it. He's never going to do it. The board won't do it. They're too proud. They're too proud to do it. But we're going to hammer on that dude. We're going to hammer at the King 5 studios. We're going to have sit-ins up in that bitch. And we are going to make them feel a presence. And it's going to be interesting. But that's just one aspect. Like I say, that's one force vector. I'm open to more.
Well, and
can I join you, Chris?
I think so.
I think one of the big questions that needs asked, though, is that why would they do this? And I know the answer, and I've been telling them this since 2013. I wrote that letter to the board. That email is really important, the way I wrote it and everything. It touched on all the correct subjects, right? But
I remember that letter.
Hey, this is like a Boston Tea Party situation, because the reason they're doing this, and I know for 100% fact, is because if the medical route kept going, medicine cannot be taxed. So when they say they're giving you a discount for your I-502 medical card, you are not getting a discount. You are avoiding what they legally cannot charge you, as in an excise and sales tax for a product they're calling a medicine. Medicine cannot be taxed in the tax codes. That's why hard against me and John Novak, because we were proving to them that's all they cared about was their $4 million of tax money that they would lose out on versus getting $44 million. So we were like, are you seriously that greedy to where you can't accept the $40 million in tax you're going to get? You got to get that last $4 million out of the 40. Like 40 is not enough. You got to get an extra 4 by fucking over all these medical patients. It's not going to be half of your 40 million. Not half of people are going to go for medical licenses and medical grows. You're not going to
Yeah.
lose that black market. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to only 4 million. So they literally have to get every penny and every nickel and lock everybody out and be in control. And that's the
Yep.
real, because when it comes to the end game, 10 years, like John Novak said, they're going to get billions for their IP, not millions, billions for their IP from Pfizer, UW, you name it, GW Pharmaceutical. All of those companies are just salivating like wolves. They
Tell
already
it.
and stole Paul Stanford's IP. So when he talks about it on Cannabis Common Sense, why did they go after me? They wanted the patient records because they had nothing as far as doctor notes. You know, when you
Yep.
go to the doctor, you say you need to use cannabis. Well, none of the regular doctors are allowed to talk about it. So they have no in-field research doctor notes. So why did they take THCF for all of their IP? Was because they wanted all the doctor notes. They immediately jumped ahead 10 years in the game without having to pay any money other than robbing Paul Stanford for all of his IP and the branding name called THCF. He eventually got the THCF part of it back because they changed the name of the company on a board meeting they discluded him from. He's the full majority owner, took a contract for investment. The investors made a board. They made a board meeting without him, voted him out, took his company. He took it all the way to the Court of Appeals and lost everything he ever had. He still talks about it to this day, and he's still damaged. He sits in Portland. He offers medical cards. Okay. This is the next thing I'm getting ready to get on. I'm heading back down there in a month after 420 to go start talking to Paul Stanford again about how we're going to start getting everybody to get medical cards again. That's where the fight starts. You get these people with their medical cards and you start again.
Yes.
And you Stanford to step in and do it all legally. He's owned a holistic business 40 years ago. His mom started it. It's a family business, and they would give out medical.
That's and you know what? That's right. And Kevin Shelton was doing that too. Kevin Shelton had the separate side where once a week he had a attending physician to do that as well. Yes,
and
that's juicy.
Okay,
I love it.
I'm an expert grower. Here's how we win. You may only get 4 plants with your medical license, right? But if Stone Thumb comes through and shows you how to grow 4 plants, you're going to end up with a lot of fucking weed, man. Like a lot of fucking weed. You're going to get a half.
Yeah. And listen, why don't you get up with my buddy up here too. Michael Schermerhorn at 138. Right. Yeah, get up with us.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. And Kevin can grow.
Yep.
All of us. He's been talking about that too. And then listen, for part 2, listen, the next meeting we project, because I got to get running. This is a good time spent. This is like about 20 minutes to put up. The next thing we'll talk about is moving that discussion into what's going on with like Vince Sears and Red Barn.
Okay.
And I'll just say this. I'm not upset about Vince Sears and Red Barn being around, except for 2 things. One, they're doing shit that's not really legal there. Like, I know there's fireworks and weapons. That's not cool. All right. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is this. I think what they're doing is perfectly legal for reasons that I will not get into in this segment. And I love it. All right. if I've reached out to them before, but they ignored my black ass. But no, for the record, if anybody's listening to this, I love what they do. And I know exactly why they do it. And I agree with them. I think it's fucking hilarious. More on that next time.
Okay.
Right.
Glad we had some time with you, Chris.
So really quickly though, let's go up with 138. I want the rundown. I've been getting like a little bit of the story there. Just can you give me a little couple of minute breakdown? What went wrong? With why and what's the status?
Absolutely. So just so people know, if you go to my Facebook page and you scroll down in my videos, you will see the last video with a 4-minute segment from Michael Schermerhorn, who is the director manager of 138. Followed by me. So there's 8 minutes right there where we go at it with the board about this whole thing. But they were award-winning co-op, recognized. They originally were called Flower Kissed, but the board renamed them Co-op 138, gave them a license and all that shit. And then get this, an 502 store shows up, and I'm a zoning professional also, but like the term coming to the nuisance. Have you heard of that term?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, it's common sense. They came to the nuisance, so to speak. I'm not saying that 138 was a nuisance, but just close enough analogy. They moved within a certain radius, and so it was real close too. It was like like 100 foot off or some shit. I don't know. So LCB's got to shut them down. They file a notice of intent to shut them down. But the
Right.
day before they have a hearing on that, so it's not final. The day before they have a hearing, in comes not Snowco, but Skagit Sheriff and the Anacortes cops and raid them and just slam them down to the ground. Okay. And
Wow.
and then Michael is disabled already and he stopped his fucking heart. He's in the hospital. He's got all kinds of medical problems. We'll go into that in part 2. But yeah, but it's just, and then I'm gonna have a heart attack talking about it. So
Right.
that's what they did to these people. They shut them down and they ignored that there was thefts going on from the facility, and those were ignored by the Anacortes police, and they jumped him. And his doctor has even written notes to the court saying this should be investigated, and they still don't give a fuck.
You know that Jack
I have the doctor's notes.
Did you know that Jack Herrera died on the Seattle Hemp Fest stage from a heart attack from this specific subject? That really rang a bell with me when you said that.
Jack Herrera, that's what happened to him?
Jack Herrera, I watched the speech on Seattle Hemp Fest main stage. He gave a speech, and 5 minutes after the speech, he died of a heart attack because he was so frustrated about this specific issue that we're talking about. For you to tell me that you're going to have a heart attack over this issue, that rang a bell with me, man.
Holy shit. That's my favorite strain, dude.
Yep. Go look at the speech. When we get off of this, I swear to God, look it up. The last speech Jack Herrera ever gave on Seattle Hemp Fest stage before he died. Look it up on Google or whatever you have to get to the right YouTube video. But I swear to God, you need to listen to that speech. That speech is everything that needed to be said. And it nailed the fucking nail right on the head, right? And they went, what nail?
Yeah. Yeah. But we still can't stop what we're doing. And we have a financial weapon now. We will weaponize the shit out of it and run from there.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful, beautiful rap session. I'm going to smoke one more time and let you guys blaze off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
Good talking
By
to
the
you.
good-
Yeah. Talk to you.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I gotta take a run up the road to run an errand for a friend of mine. So I'm gone sobbing.
Hey.
See you guys.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, peace.
Peace.